Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final day of Western Europe Div 1 Spring Tour. We are here Sunday night. I'm going to be your host, Nat T. Joining me is T-Gov and Lizard. Guys, it is the final night of regular season. I say regular because we know we're going to get tiebreakers.
Yep.
We can talk about that later down the track. But yeah, we'll only have one series tonight as well, so it's going to be potentially a short night. How excited are you guys to round out Spring Tour?
Super excited and
No,
at
the answer is sad.
same time very sad because
yeah.
it's the last day. Like
last day.
it went by so fast, didn't it?
No, there's going to be infinite tiebreakers.
Oh,
Look, yeah. We'll talk about tiebreakers eventually. We will get there because Friday night, we have to look back. We have to have a chat about the 3 series that occurred over there. It was the final series for some of the teams playing. Actually, it was the final series for only one team who played later in the night. It started off with Nigma Galaxy up against Gaming Gladiators, and we were talking about how upset we were that we weren't getting 3-game series. Everything was a nice, quick 2-0 despite how close this region is. But finally, on the second last day, Nigma Galaxy and Gaming Gladiator delivered with this 3-game barn burner of a series.
And my barn was burnt watching this because Nigma in Game 1, they looked quite stellar. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get it over the line in Game 2 and 3. Yeah, it was burnt because of Nigma. Yeah, it's, insurance is really difficult nowadays.
Yeah,
Probably won't get the money back.
it's rough.
I do have to
Also,
say,
Nigma won't get their major slots. So, you know, it's a lose-lose.
That's like watching Enigma qualify as an excuse, like as a
Kinda.
it could. Look, this game 1, though, Nigma Galaxy looked fantastic. I was actually really worried for Gaming Gladiators during this game because I've never seen Nigma Galaxy come into a series so confidently and up against an opponent like Gaming Gladiators Lizard. Like, these guys have absolutely dominated throughout this tour, and for them to be stopped in their tracks in game 1 against Nigma Galaxy.
Yeah, game 1 was great. And overall, from Nigma, I think that they're getting better and better. They're finding themselves. I believe we talked to Insania a little bit about them too, and he was like, yeah, they're definitely a team to watch out for in any sort of a tiebreaker or relegation match. Like, this is a team that can take it and can win it because they've been steadily improving, finding themselves, finding their groove, finding the fact that Amar isn't actually a carry and that they need to put him on a different lane.
He's now the mid laner.
The mid laner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had
works out for
that
them.
nice little graphic tee coming into this series about Nigma Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I
and,
saw that one.
Their mid lane is where they've been placing everyone. But this series, it was Amar mid all 3 games.
Yeah, they stuck to the graphic, if anything. Yeah, we cracked the code, and yeah, it was ever since Liquid, they didn't know what it was doing. But if anything, for Nigma now, they are in this bottom 3 tiebreaker. We Manaspa Nigma, and then the loser of this series here will be entering that 3-way tiebreaker. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult road because all the teams that at least in Div 1 there hasn't been one team this tour that have gone, okay, they're going to lose every single game. It's like there's actually been contenders for kind of surviving in Division 1, which is often rare when you get the Div 2 teams come up. But yeah, for Nigma at least, it's cool they're improving with their strategy of the whole Amar situation, but I think the ceiling of it is always going to be like bottom 4 of Division 1. I don't think the ceiling of this strategy and this concept is
With Amar on mid, you mean? Or
yeah, some like Amar mid, Sumo going to carry. You know, I think this whole strategy it's got a cap to it, unless Amar really kind of heavily hits the mid lane, and Tour 3 is like, I am now the world's best mid laner. I've put as much energy as I put into off lane into mid. But
I mean, that can happen, right? Like, he's extremely young. Like, this kind of a player has a ton of talent. One of the reasons why they didn't just give up on him. Instead, they're switching lanes up because they do have fate. I believe he's one of those Nisha and back in the day Miracle type of players. Like, not necessarily on the same level, obviously, at the moment, but he has a ton of potential.
Yeah, that was the first series. We saw Tofu's reaction a little bit ago. He was very excited. Gaming Gladiators took it 2-1. This second series now we're watching the highlights for is Liquid up against Ooredoo Thunders. And again, it was another 3-game series. The first game, 62 minutes. It was a showing from Ooredoo Thunders. They really stood their ground against Liquid, and they were 1 game away from booking their ticket to the major. This series was a lot for Ooredoo Thunders. Also for Liquid. Liquid, if they won it, they were going to secure first place. Ooredoo Thunders, if they won it, secured the last major slot. But unfortunately, even though it went 3 games, it didn't go in favor of Ooredoo Thunders. Liquid did end up closing it out.
Yeah, the first game was extremely well played by Ooredoo Thunder, but then the second draft and the third one perhaps were just a little bit better by Liquid. I'm not saying that the drafts on Ooredoo Thunder were necessarily poor, It's just that Liquid got everything that they needed in both of these games. Like in the second one, Zai just dominated with the Keeper of the Light, healed everything up, like you couldn't kill anyone. And in this last game, they saved up pocket strat, not necessarily a pocket strat, just something you don't see very often. It's the Slardar into the AM. Anti-Mage got picked up, they answered with Slardar, suddenly he has no game.
A little bit of an earlier AM pickup too, but we're also going to see our third and final series for the Friday night. It was Tundra up against Manaspa. That one, though, unfortunately didn't go to 3 games. It was what we feel like the classic here in Western Europe so far, just a 2-OT.
Yeah, I mean, Tundra, they have, ever since kind of the shaky mid-portion of the DPC tour, they've kind of refound themselves a little bit. You see it with their drafts. Of course, they returned to their Naga. They got the Beastmaster. We're going to see the highlights of Game 2 where they got their Night Stalker. They put it in the carry role again. I feel like Tundra, they're just back to being confident in themselves. Like, I don't think they've really changed heroes too much, other than maybe like Abaddon, Night Stalker, these type of things. But the overall like systems are still the same. They're just better at executing it, more confident in how they execute it, and I think they're just on the same page. And yeah, just what was it? They going to the major, chilling, booked themselves to it by beating Manaspa, and yeah, Manaspa, because they lost, get to join the tiebreaker situation again. It's gonna be rough. I feel for any of these teams who have to play just for one slot. It's like you get to play a whole other group stage basically with 3 teams. One team survives, 2 get to Division 2. If you go Division 2 for Tour 3, no major potential. You're then going to have a weird seeding for TI qualifiers if you remain in Division 2. It's just, this is the scariest time to ever get relegated.
One of the best things about Tundra winning this series is that we got to talk to Owie afterwards. He gave a lot of really nice insight. Yeah, neither of you guys were here on the panel.
I was.
You were, Lizard?
I was.
It was you, Sind, and myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to speak to Owie, and he gave a lot of insight. It feels a bit rare to get to talk to the coaches lately, and we got to hear about the Night Stalker, hear about how they sort of work as a team, boot camp buff, all that sort of stuff, and what they're planning upcoming towards the major too.
Yeah, we got to listen to Aoi troll Cinderin a little bit.
Oh, true. That was actually my favorite part.
Which is always nice, but also just listening to Aoi, right? Like he's one of these players, coaches at the moment that are extremely insightful, very eloquent when it comes to the game. Like he just makes, even he doesn't make the game sound simple, but he's the one that when you listen to maybe comes the closest. And if for me it's always like that. If you can explain what you understand in the simplest of terms, you really understand that. If you can't, if it's all beating around the bush, then it's a little bit. Yeah, I'm skeptical about the actual understanding there. And Aoi definitely knows this game inside out.
Yeah, it was great to hear from him. Great knowledge coming out from that interview. Would suggest going back and watching if you ever get the chance, but not right now because we're going to discuss the leaderboard and also eventually today's schedule. But leaderboard, the only team, the only group of 5 that aren't going to be playing in tiebreakers is Liquid. They secure themselves first no matter what happens. They will not be giving up first place. So big congrats, back-to-back first places for Liquid this year in the DPC. Now it's going to be a tiebreaker between a Gaming Gladiators and Tundra for first and third. Then it's going to be a tiebreaker between Ooredoo Thunders and whoever wins our upcoming series for that last major slot. And then it will be a 3-way tiebreaker between Nigma Galaxy, Manaspa, and whoever loses this upcoming series for 1 spot left in Division 1. So a lot on the line. This series for Entity and OG is you either get to have a shot at going to the major or you are fighting against 2 other teams for 1 slot left in Division 1. It is the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum right now.
Shot for the major or shot for Division 2? One or the other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Liquid just giggling. It's like, all of you have to play tiebreakers, and they're just chilling up at the top, having to do nothing.
Feels so good, right? Like ending the. If they.
I'd never know.
If they did lose,
well,
it's fine. We're together in this. Yeah. If they did lose, they would end up in a tiebreaker slot as well. So they're the only like yesterday or day before yesterday.
Friday.
Friday. So they secure themselves. They're fine. They're happy. They're going to the major. No tiebreakers. No shenanigans. Everyone else though, like what was the last month for? Can't you guys like do it within the normal duration of the season?
You're still being so competitive. Come on, guys.
What's happening?
How about I got an idea? So let's add another 3 weeks to the
another 3 weeks and just
let's
play
go
it
back
over
to
again.
6 weeks.
And then we add a whole other set of games. So you have a home and away game. Turn it into best of 2s. And then...
You know, I brought this up...
away wins and home wins.
Exactly, yeah. And then we have it all at LAN, and then you can have that. And then if that doesn't work out, then you turn it into a 12-week, and then 24, and you just keep building it. Because at this rate, the way that DPC's format is, like the league itself is always gonna be tiebreakers. It's like
I don't love hearing that at all, D. But what I do love hearing about, esportsbet.io. They are our sponsor here. And if you guys didn't know, they have a new watch to earn platform where you can get 3,000 free tokens, roughly $3 USD per hour, simply by watching your favorite DPC games over on esportsbet.io. You don't even need to place a bet to start getting those tokens. And OG Entity, it's a really big series right now. So much left undecided simply off of this one series. Is the fate for OG and Entity.
It's a really big series, right? At the same time, the teams aren't really entering the series, I believe, in the same fashion. Like we have OG with, well, they struggled at the beginning of the season, and once we got to talk to Taiga, we understood why they struggled, right? Like Taiga was actually sick, he was in the hospital, he came back from the hospital, he didn't want to play anything else, so he played some Ogre, right? Like it's the easiest hero to play out. They had some fever dreams when it came to their drafts, not everything was really mashing up together very well. But they are starting to rediscover themselves, and it's working. For Entity, I have a feeling that they're trying to rediscover themselves, but because it's not working, and it still isn't. Like they lost what, 4 best-of-2s in a row?
Yeah, it is
best of 3.
Best of 3.
We're not in that new format yet. That's
that's what T was.
I'm living in 2025 already.
There we go. There we go.
I have 2 questions for you guys. One is, where do you think most of our talent are sitting on this? Do you think that the talent split prediction is more OG favored? Is it more Entity favored? Or do you actually think we might be 50-50?
It depends when they voted. If they
No, that's what you have to take into account. You know half of the talent are lazy and all did it back into the South.
40 Entity.
Same.
Okay, so you think Entity favored? You also think
if they
Entity
voted early on, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's OG favored, but we're gonna have a look. We do have our little graphic ready, so let's see where all of our talent are. It's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
oh, it's just Entity favored.
2, 3, 4,
It's Entity
5,
favored,
6.
yeah.
By like 1.
Yeah, by 1. So almost 50-50.
I changed it today, by the way. I went to OG this morning.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so it would have been Entity favored.
I was flip-flopping. When I was thinking, I was like, do I want Entity, do I want OG? And there's something about Entity's 4 series loss streak that concerns me a little bit for the team. I don't know how strong of a bounce back you can really get. And on the flip side for OG, it's like there's the situation you mentioned with the Ogre, then there's like the fact that they just won a series. Maybe OG has a bit more momentum coming into it, but that's so 50-50 with these.
The second question I had was, what do you think is the easiest support? I was actually perusing Reddit and someone said, what's the easiest support to learn coming into Dota? And you talked about Ogre. You said it was easy. You were like, this is it, the mindless hero that you just get to play.
I mean, probably the best hero is something that's easy and in the meta at the same time. That's what you should be playing on a support. Like you need to figure it out, because you're going to be winning games, right? If you're winning games with something that's easy and simple on position 5, you're going to...
Say Undying. I know you want to say it. Say Undying.
It's Undying. That's all. Yeah. Roll into lane, decay some plebs, steal the strength.
That's true. Undying is actually pretty S tier right now, and pretty simple
Even
to play.
carries play it in NA. Like Timado played a mean Undying yesterday. Position 5, but still.
I mean, wasn't there the clip on Reddit as well last night where the Undying put Tomb level 1, he put it on the cliff, and 5 heroes at the rune died to the zombies.
No way.
And I have no idea what MMI, it's probably like Herald or something, but the 5 heroes were walking around in circles like, what do we do with the tombstone? And they all died. And yeah, that alone.
The Walking Dead or Last of Us in the river.
There you go. So we've answered it for you, Twitch chat.
Undying right there. But the 2 teams, we saw them flash up on our screens there. OG Entity. Lizard, you've already highlighted some of the issues that you feel for OG. The thing is, they're both on the same scoreline right now, okay? Both of them have lost 4 series. Both of them have also won 2 series. So even though Entities is this streak of losing, at any point it could be broken, and it's the same for OG. At any point they could revert back to the
losing ways. Yeah,
the rough drafts. I'm going to word it in a nice way. The rough drafts they had previously.
They could. By the way, when I said they played best of 2s, I'm taking back that I took it back. They did play best of 2s. They
were all 2-0s.
They were all 2-0s. So Entity just lost 4 series in a row 0-2. So that's really rough. Meanwhile, at the same time, OG, the way they won the last series versus Nigma was a treat to watch. I have a feeling they found themselves. Like they played this Marcy on position 5 that was outstanding, a Mirana carry. Probably you shouldn't play that in your pubs, but it worked out.
How important do you think the Marcy is going to be in the draft then? I know that 2 bans are still available here. Do you think Entity have to consider phasing out that Marcy? Or are you like, bro, she's just a support, don't worry about it?
I would lean that way, just because, of course, in first phase, you've got to think about Disruptor, there's Beastmasters, Broods, all these things. OG, of course, bound to be Disruptor themselves, even though they're first pick. Entity, they're going to be thinking about Beastmaster, maybe the Brood themselves.
The Brood, the Nature's Prophet,
The
as
Death
well.
Prophet
the Death
too.
Prophet,
Yep.
they're just, they ban
And they
out
just ban it out. So now for OG at least, these heroes do come up. And the thing with Marcy, for example, is like, if OG after that previous series, like, wow, this POS 5 Marcy was insane for Chu, it really unlocked his gameplay, they'll just throw it into the draft as early as possible, right? We're not seeing it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it at least once throughout this series.
Yeah, even for Entity, like they also tried experimenting with the hero, but unfortunately for them, they put it on position 1.
Okay, it
didn't
sometimes
look-
can work as
didn't
POS
look
1.
great. It didn't. It sometimes can work in
Yeah.
that matchup. Like it really did not look that promising, but maybe it can.
It's because a lot of people really favor Marcy against range heroes, and I do believe it was up against a ranged
I think
offlaner.
against the Drow, maybe even like the carry Drow or something.
Right.
So-
And so I see that reasoning why, and they wanted her to like really get the farm for the items, but bro, she just got absolutely decimated. POS 1 Marcy probably looked the worst it ever did in that series.
Yeah, got cliffed a
They're
couple of
taking
times.
their time. They are eating. Like, at this point of a draft, right, when you're contending for like major elimination, I feel like you should have your band's initial picks already kind of locked in, right? So, okay, now they inevitably get to it. So Death Prophet, ET.
Is this Nature's
Fishman,
Prophet from
ET,
OG?
locking it early. All right.
So one thing from Entity is like their ideas are sound, but they didn't really make them work so far. Like the ET and Bane on position 5 that they've been picking didn't really work out that great. But sure, why not? And with the DP.
Does
and the
Fishman
DP.
not play Undying?
He is a enthusiast of the hero, but they've pushed ET a
Interesting.
little bit higher up in value. For OG at least, it's like natural response here would be like Drow, Sniper, Shadow Fiend, anything like this. As I keep moving and making the cameraman really get his paycheck
Quickly
today. Sorry
coming
for
up.
that one.
Walk this way, T.
This way?
No, that you went away from me.
perfect.
Oh, I thought I was going to center.
No, I was going to make it more difficult for
Oh, sorry. I thought you were trying to like coordinate, but no.
you. No.
So for OG, at least, like, there's all these options, and like ET, even if you throw it into the 5 with the Astral Spirit, the Aura, like these, agi fragile carries don't enjoy playing against it, especially if there's some like big burst behind that. So maybe that's why Entity value this ET.
I'm a big enthusiast. I think that ET is one of those position 5 that can really dominate the lane. He's not in a
Can't
bad
spell
spot.
enthusiast without ET.
There you go. Can you? You
No, you can't.
can't. Okay, you can.
What? How do you spell enthusiast without
Enthusiast.
ET? Enthusiast literally starts with an E lizard.
But not together, right? Yeah.
No, okay, they don't go back to back. You're
There
right.
you go. That's what I meant. Anyways, like it's a strong
You
laner.
say enthusiast.
Yeah, I did.
You can't say the T at the end. Sorry, I'm getting
Oh.
so distracted. I am so distracted tonight.
No, it's fine. And so are the teams. They're like the fact that their reserve time is just getting all
Of
the way
course,
through.
this is right. Like if you pick a DP on
I
one
forgot
side,
Nature's, yeah.
you let the Nature's Prophet through.
forgot,
It's
yeah.
gonna picked up. It's gonna be picked up like 99%. You'll play it into the Death Prophet in the lane if the DP is on the offlane, and you'll feel happy about it. If they mess up with the DP lane, if they put the DP somewhere else and you recognize it during the drafting stage, then you can just put the Nature's Prophet somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. It can be offlane.
Another thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that they banned Tiny in the first phase. Of course, Entity. Stormsummer loves to play it. Katomi easily can play it, so they're just respecting that flexibility there. So forcing maybe the draft a little bit, why Entity took a bit of time. Not a lot of teams ban Tiny. It's like maybe like 25% ban against them. And yeah, now OG, you'd expect the Nature Prophet to be the carry in this
they're
scenario.
banning
So a
out
lot
the
of
Slark.
bans for this would be like Slark, Naga,
Ursa,
and then
maybe.
yeah, like
something
so
that.
some value ban depending on what they want to pick down the line. They'll kind of pivot based on that.
Yeah, for Entity, they did play a lot of DP, by the way, on the mid lane. So it could be a Stormer DP. If they do manage to put the DP on the mid lane, I'd like to see that good old 3-man semi-core coming from Entity. Where's their Pudge? What's happening? Like I want to see their Pudge.
Got deleted, mate.
Like it did get nerfed. That's true. I'd still like to see it once again.
Sure.
Like they can make it work.
I mean, especially in these games where it's like Nature's Prophet carry. Like if you put DP mid in a good matchup and you can go Pudge carry, sure, I can see it. The glasses are off.
I
He
just
means
had-
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He's going to tell you a story.
glasses
T.
are off because
Listen up.
exactly. I'm happy I'm back in Western Europe.
I'm listening.
I got tortured in NA for one night.
Oh, no.
I witnessed Pudge with the Bloodseeker Ags.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is the
yeah,
TSM game you're
TSM
talking
game,
about?
ESM game, yeah. Like now that I mentioned Pudge, I hope I don't see that.
I do want to point out, my worry for Entity is they do have the smallest hero pool right now in Western Europe. They are closely followed by Tundra, and they have 1 game difference between them. So they're pretty on par, but I do think for Entity, Entity, the difference is Tundra were winning a lot more. They had this success with this quote-unquote smaller hero pool, but Entity have been struggling, and it feels that we're not really seeing Stormstormer branch out onto more mid heroes, and it's not really working for the team
The guy
right now.
played like 3,000 games of Invoker.
Just Invoker.
Can't really branch out, you know, when you've played so many games of one hero, you're obviously not going to be able to practice some other ones at the same time, but his Invoker is really mean. I wouldn't mind seeing that once again. Is Pango banned out? Pango is still in the pool. That's another option for both of these two teams, like another hero that I'm surprised hasn't been banned or picked yet.
Yeah, for Entity, getting into the next phase will be the difficult one because they need to decide what's happening with Death Prophet. If they want to flex it to mid, they are going to then have to go for some Morana, some Clockwork style opening. So it's like, where's Death Prophet going? But if they've already settled on exactly where it's going to lane, then they can easily pick up another core here. Again, that is the joy of being second pick. You need to, even if you have flex, you can't flex it the entire way.
Yeah, OG is really going all in defending this Prophet.
Yeah,
All their bans pretty much after in the second stage are to defend the Prophet. So I guess Nature's will be the safe lane. You ban out the Slark, the TB, the Batrider.
Yeah, they get to play Nature's Prophet on the offlane, so it is normally locked in into carry for them at least.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of other heroes that DM really excels at. It was sad we saw him get the Brood eventually, and he did so well in it, but he's also great at Beast and Lycan. And I know that they're not in the pool, but I would like to see him go back on those Zoo heroes a little bit more. Sometimes he gets the Doom as well, which he's really good on.
We saw the Beast and the
Also
Doom, I
cool.
believe, played in their last series versus Nigma,
Yeah.
which they won. So the Beastmaster, it was a bit rough at the beginning, but they did make it work.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
So a very impressive showing there.
What are they going to go with? There's the clock, sure, as kind of mentioned before. So they are kind of keeping this Death Prophet available to be offlane and mid. Now OG, you just keep that in mind, and here you kind of want to just pick another lane that Death Prophet can't flex to. So if you're OG, you want to pick up a mid lane that goes, okay, DP, if you come to my lane, you're going to have a bad time in mid. If you want to go to the safe lane, there's a Nature's Prophet there.
Yeah,
Not a lot of heroes fill that kind of void
Right.
because DP is very strong in the mid lane, but like you could argue there's Shadow Fiend, Zeus-esque type stuff.
I
But
feel when you mentioned SF, it's more likely for me to see it from Entity, maybe even. Like,
yeah, I'd be very surprised if OG actually were to do it themselves.
like Entity could put the
Marcy.
DP on the mid lane or off lane.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, they picked
Fair.
the SF in the clock and Marcy for OG. This should be their position 5. Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily the real position 5 that you usually expect, because they play this Marcy to the fullest. Like,
Isn't it
always.
weird to say? I think Tiger roams a lot as a 4,
Yep.
but it feels that Chu plays with the farm of a 4. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Like,
Yeah.
Tiger's all about making moves on the map, and he wants to try and break the game as early as possible for OG to utilize. And Chu, he is just slower to make those moves. When we saw him play the 4 role, it just felt like OG didn't have any moves to make because it wasn't Tiger there. That's no flame to Chu, it's just Tiger is a
He just likes
specialist at it.
defending towers. He sits behind the tier 2, gets some last hits.
And it helps.
He's a last hit enjoyer on that position 5. Ends up having like some
Aren't we all a little bit?
Boots of Bearing, BKB, and they snatched that Invoker from them. They did make the Invoker work, by the way. BZM, I believe, played the Invoker, and he went for the Meteor Hammer,
It's a
and
good
it
game
worked out for them. Yeah.
It's a good game for it in here because... Oh, okay. So now they flex the DP to the offlane, put the puck mid. That's perfectly fine. But in regards to OG, they are giving themselves this way where if Entity are super aggressive, they can split the map, make it wider. Marcy eventually with BKB will always be a threat towards this core Death Prophet. And now for Invoker, I want to see that Meteor Hammer build because when Puck wants to make moves, I think
Just
it was
like tower.
like 4 hammers or like 5 hammers and you take the tower. It's like within like a minute and a half of buying hammer, if you use it off cooldown every time, you take the tower. So yeah, Invoker can really just destroy Entity's ability to defend mid lane. Their heroes aren't very good at defending it other than kind of throwing bodies and just preventing Invoker from positioning to use the hammer.
Yeah, you can, once the clock hits 6 or the ET rotates in, you can always stop him with some stomp, but overall, seems like a good Meteor Hammer game. I'm surprised they went instantly into the puck when their Invoker got countered by a Pango multiple times in a row, but I guess some extra control is never too bad, even though they're not lacking it. Like, you have ET, you have Clockwork. Entity's draft so far is pretty solid, very well rounded up. Like, they're not necessarily lacking anything huge, just they need to round it up with that last hard carry.
Are you guys a little bit surprised by the Dragon Knight ban? I know Dragon Knight is that instant catch. A lot of people pick it into puck, but if we're thinking that this Nature's Prophet is safe, is there space for a Dragon Knight even in this draft?
DK and Rubik is a pretty formidable offlane combo. You have double damage reduction, so you can just exist. And it's one of those bans where it just stops puck from playing the game. Because it will always be, if I go in aggressive, bam, I'm going to get Dragon Tailed instantly. And then it's like, oh, do I have to buy Lincolns? There's too many things that annoy. And I think both teams have really exceptional bans in the final phase. I think for OG, some DK initiation or some Centaur disengage would have been very powerful. And then for OG's bans, anti-mage against OG's heroes, absolute free game. Entity will be laughing if they're able to pick this hero. And then TA, same kind of thing, just OG can't really take over the jungle and stop defensive farming.
They played the TA and the ET, right? Like TA, that's literally the drive that they had before, so OG probably banning it out because of that too. Not necessarily because they think it's the best, just they saw it. And now with the Tide, there are some options, right? There are some options that are decent into the Tide. Either the melee course, like the Ursa is left, the Monkey King is left, or something crazier like a Luna that's always been decent into the Tide. And then you press the tempo a little bit faster.
Yeah, they pretty much have free pickings on how they want to do it. If they want to shut down the Tide, like you mentioned, some Luna, they can still go for some... They don't really want to do like the Drow snipers because of the Marcy value. Like if the game goes later, Marcy will be able to scale. And the Prophet as well, just TPing behind you, like it can be rough. But they could go that way too. Like I think Monkey, honestly, out of all the options, sounds the easiest, just because it gives you
what about some
scalability. Shadow Fiend's
can be played.
It can be played. Again, it kind of somewhat falls into the whole Marcy category, but it takes a little bit longer. I think Shadow Fiend can do a lot more on the map early on to prevent Marcy hitting the creeps to find that farm. Again, we are talking about a POS 5 Marcy, so it's going to be some 35-minute BKB most likely.
I feel like you have your carry, Watson. You just look at him, bro. What do you want to play?
Just tell us what you want to play.
Just tell what you feel comfortable with. Our draft is already good. It's not that they're lacking anything massive. They just have to pick a full comfort zone for him. And he does play heroes that are decent into OG's lineup, so it shouldn't be that difficult for them to decide. Let's see.
Yeah, they decide pretty
Ursa, yeah. It was Monkey or Ursa if you really want lane to be going well for you. Plus, you're playing into the Prophet.
Bless me. I hope that had a bit of a squeak to it, so I'm really happy I got the mute key in time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't hear it in my headset, but it could have been picked up by anyone else's mic.
There we go. Nice.
Anyway, Ursa, look, we've seen Ursa a bunch of times. We've seen it succeed. We've seen it fail. We've seen it fail a lot as well. Before this lineup, you already liked Entity's draft beforehand. Ursa adding to it. Do you side with Entity for Game 1 draft?
I think I do, just because of the fact that Stormstormer Puck is going to be quite unkillable in this game. I don't know if there's clean enough stuns to hurt him. And then on top of that, it's like the unkillability of Ursa plus a DP. DP might have a hard lane, but yeah, I think Entity, unless they really misplay their lineup, they should be able to hit those motions of Roshan and map progression quite nicely that they often use to win a game.
Yeah, I'm mostly worried about the DP for Entity. Like, I also think that their draft is solid.
From lane into team
Laning
fight?
into Nature's Prophet, yeah. That's never been an easy lane for the DP. If she can get shut down there, if Toby does not have a game, maybe you won't be able to take any objectives. But you do have enough playmaking capabilities from the clock, from the puck, from the Ursa. So I'm not sure. I'm still going to go with OG. I just feel that they've been playing better recently.
I do also, very quickly before we jump into the game, want to know what you feel the impact of this POS 5 Marcy is going to be. Obviously, they've picked it up because they're comfortable. This is what they're screaming. They've had a lot of success on it before. But into an Ursa, another hero that likes to stand its ground and just hit one target, is this Marcy going to be just as impactful?
Yes.
Yes?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's not a good answer at all, but we're going to jump into game 1. We'll see how it plays out. It's OG up against Entity with B-Cup and Lacoste.
No. Oh, I thought we were going to go with, yes, maybe, and I'll go with the no about Marcy, but do your transition.
Thanks very much, Nat. I appreciate the transition over here. I've got my casting partner, Lacoste. Yes? No? No?
I'm ready to go, though. Entity, last pick, Ursa, looks really good for Ursa. I don't think they have enough when it comes down to locking him. He also builds into upgraded Quelling Blade so he can get out of the Nature's Prophet Sprout. There is no control on their side for him. So once he gets the BKB, there's also no BKB piercing abilities. So looks really, really good for him. OG's lineup, I knew it sounded familiar from somewhere. They did play like the similar tricore against Monaspa, Nature's Prophet, Marcy, and Invoker. They had Brood and Hoodwink, but you're gonna feel this power of Sidekick, Invoker with the Alacrity on Nature's Prophet, so there's gonna be lifesteal, extra damage, extra attack speed.
We talked about that combo when I believe it was us who was covering that game, and we talked about the combo of Sidekick and Alacrity, where it's like they take the Roche taking potential of it, the fighting taking potential of it, and fight talking. And here we go. Kataome's in some trouble. Sunstrike comes down right on top of the Clockwork, and it's BZM who draws first blood.
Big commitment, 175 mana. Usually we see it miss the mid-range, mid-creep. The range one doesn't happen, but good start for Invoker, and he's also buying something, bringing Gloves of Haste immediately. I'm really glad that Invokers are staying away from the Meteor Hammer build. I don't think it's that great anymore. Like when the patch dropped, people thought, oh, this is going to be the next best thing. But it seems like there are better items, and he's also going to be playing Exort this time around. In terms of setup, gosh, Marcy's Rebound. This time around, Chu starting with Rebound level 1. There was that time, the game against Monaspa, when he started with Dispose and Sidekick, no points from Rebound. So this time around, he will have a stun set up for Spirit Siphon, Dispose as well. Taiga getting some harassment here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we're seeing more of this Elder Titan, and it's kind of a question that I have for you is, we're late in the patch. What's really that draw here for Elder Titan? Because the more and more games we're seeing towards the end of the tour, we're seeing a lot more ET.
ET does pop up when the games really matter, I would say, when you like, oh, what do we want to pick? This is a 5 hero that does a lot of things. He's a strong laner, scales really well into mid, especially late game if you manage to get the items. It also provides vision. Like, we talk a lot about securing the Roche and also defending the Roche, one of the better heroes, stalling the game. Like one of the heroes that can like land a 2-3 man stop, send things up, stop Tidehunter's Ravage, rest of the team connecting.
And we saw
good body blocks
today.
here.
Yeah, Toby, one shot from death. Yuragi will get the kill, and it's already 2-0 here for OG. This is a good start to the lane, and certainly one with the Nature's Prophet that could pay off. BZM going into that Null Talisman. This Putz picked up that bottle, and Toby right back to the lane. So we'll see how this goes. Is right now 9-5 for BZM over mid.
That first blood, extra 20 attack speed from Gloves of Haste that he immediately picked up. And also, not just going for straight Midas, also investing in some of the smaller items. You did mention this Null Talisman that he's bringing to the lane. Putting some good harassment on Stormstormer on the mid lane. Fishman needs to be careful. He gets close, tries to square up. Gush in the face, Fate Bolt, reducing his armor and damage. Now trying to stack here a little bit, not allowing them to pull.
So Fishman again sending that Astral Spirit out there, and we've seen the early damage, what it could do to some of these heroes. Not a lot on the Taiga just yet, as he's got Fade Bolt available. Sunstrike, Telekinesis holds him in there, and BZM's got another kill.
Taiga will also pick up Bounty Rune, so this rotation, double the value from it. And as you said, BZM getting those early kills.
Not something we've seen so much with Invokers, right? Like, we see a lot of Invoker in this region. Specifically, these two teams love to play Invoker, but Sunstrike kills early hasn't really been the name of the game.
Yeah, so, some of the times we also do see Quas of X Invoker, depending on the matchup. But Stormstormer, like, he's the one that's going to shift things around. I remember during this DPC, he played one game on Invoker, played Quas of X, realized it's not that good, switches back to Quas Exert, and then he does much better.
BZM and Stormstormer, both level 4 at the moment, as it's still going really well in terms of the CS. But if you look at the net worth, already a 600 gold lead. And taking a look at these odds from esportsbet.io, a slight favoring for OG. They've seemed to have the number of Entity for a little while now. TPing back into the lane and right into the cogs. So Yuragi siphoned and hit with that battery assault, comes into the lane and loses half his life. Not fun. Rebounds. But is there anybody else you could really go for? Toby's got no Spirit Siphons. The damage is not something you want to deal with. And BZM is going to kill Watson.
That's another Sunstrike. So far, so good. All 3 Sunstrikes were on point. And he gets the last hit every single time, which is going to push him towards the early hand of Midas, already sitting at 800 gold. Yuragi, you talked about it. He does not have TP available, does not have TP scroll as well. So now they need to play with this. Chu does have a point in sidekick now, so there's going to be an extra sustain in the lane. Toby's the one who's really struggling, sitting at only 12 CS, can't really deal well with these Treants. And also, they started the lane real nicely here. Kataomi pinging it out.
Yeah, wants to go after Chu again, but there's the dispose. Sidekick onto Yuragi. Sprout, the right clicks enough. Looks like they should be, especially with the Treants helping do the job. So they get themselves another kill in the top lane.
Way too deep. You'll hit that level 3 on Clockwork. You think you're unkillable, but Chu did one hell of a job, and we're going to see the Sunstrike play again.
Yeah, so going after Watson. Taiga here again. Sunstrike, telekinesis, holds him up into the air, right to praise the sun. And BZM level 6 already.
I prefer praise the moon of Mene compared to the sun. BZM puts down Observer Ward for himself. Level 6.5. Stormstormer only level 5. Let's see the first rotation. Kataomi will get that D-Ward immediately. But seems like he's not going to be able to contest.
Ooh, but
Fishman
also here. Sunstrike's not going to hit, but that means Fishman's going the other way, and he's actually staying close anyway.
Doesn't matter. It was a zoning Sunstrike.
Yeah.
Keep hitting him. If he goes there, you're going to get the kill anyway. So they try to go play around the 6-minute rune. Watson.
Ooh, Yuragi's here to go into Watson. Nature's Call. Change on the lane for a moment from Yuragi. He's not holding onto a TP either, so I guess the name of the game is just get this tier 1 tower.
Looking at the build from Yuragi, double Gloves of Haste. I don't think I've seen this build before.
Interesting that he came down here with the TP with no way back up top. But yeah, you'd have to assume that they're going to try and get a kill in the tower. Sprout doesn't lock him in, it just blocks him out. Now they're going to have Watson go in onto Yuragi. They're trying to chase. They've also got the Clockwork coming over. Yuragi, he may not have a TP, but he will now because he's dead. That's a problem as Kataomi gets the cogs around Taiga. And this is looking like it's just going to be a second OG. They gather themselves a lead and hand it right back with a move like this.
They give both kills to Watson. He need, like we talked about Ursa having a good time. It's a really good Ursa game overall in terms of net worth. He's second on the net worth. There's a big difference. And 4K gold lead on Invoker compared to Puck's 2.8. Hand of Midas already done 7 minutes into the game. BZM's on fire.
Yeah, he has got 4 kills already, and he has just been involved with those Sunstrikes. So he's going to be picking up boots after picking up that Midas. He's rolling through the net worth, and that's going to be an issue for Stormstormer as his opponent.
I think Stormstormer's probably scared knowing that he is Invoker Master himself, knows that if he gets that good of a start on Invoker, 6 minutes Hand of Midas, multiple kills, this is going to be very difficult to stop. Kataomi.
Yeah, rebound, dispose. BZM's here with Cold Snap, and they get another kill. BZM now on a mega kill streak. 5 of the 7 kills have been this Invoker thus far. So OG coming into a very important last match of the regular season, and I say that knowing tiebreakers are tomorrow. But they are making a statement right now at the beginning.
They are playing very aggressive, moving from side to side, having this global presence as well.
Telekinesis into the rebound.
Speaking of global presence, Wrath of Nature.
So Toby hurt and surviving with a Spirit Siphon. Sprout on a Fishman, so they don't get that kill onto the Death Prophet. They'll throw a Rocket Flare up here. They don't have a hook shot to follow it up. Crypt Swarm, Fade Bolt, both these heroes really low. Stormstormer joins in, and he's level 7. So he'll go to the Illusory Orb, drop the Dream Coil down onto 2 of these heroes, but they've got the spread around Kataomi. They go and pop and snap this Dream Coil. Taiga trying to run, but the Illusory Orb will finish him off. They go to the rebound, look for the Sunstrike, but he'll die before it lands as they end up trading.
Lance of Pursuit from Marcy slowed him down, and Sunstrike did not connect. I don't think he did the math on it. He's just like, oh, there's not going to be any kind of slow. I'll use the Sunstrike on Dead Prophet. In the end, it doesn't connect. Toby lives, but they still are getting the kills. Yuragi also going for Hand of Midas. Have in mind, this is 2k gold lead already for OG, and they are going to have 2 Hand of Midases up soon.
That being said, Ursa's kind of putting himself into decent shape to get a good Battle Fury timing. Toby now on the run, dispose towards Yuragi. They'll get a kill into the Death Prophet, and with Treants right on the tower and 3 heroes here, this is going to be a lot of damage, if not the tower, depending on the defense from Entity.
Haven't really seen much from Kataomi. He tries to get close with the battery assault, gets sprouted immediately, or he tries to get in, gets disposed. Chu having a really good game, and now they're pressuring the tower. Level 6 Marcy ready to go. DM also coming to the mid lane. Has that Ravage available. And will be another tower. By another tower, I mean the first one, but the top one is also sitting at 600 HP.
They're thinking about going in with a rebound. Storm's nearby. Rocket Flare will spot them out. It's drums being built here for BZM as he's going to pick up an Arcane Rune. And hook shot missing.
Not sure if they would be able to connect. Fishman was there. Maybe Stormer, but a bit low on mana. Also, his damage output is still limited. Watson trying to keep up with the farm of Nature's Prophet, but against Invoker, a bit too difficult. He had way too good of a start.
Yeah, he is up by a lot. 2,000 gold ahead of Stormer.
That's he's just getting kills everywhere. And I also like that he's going for these smaller items, like in the lane, Null Talisman, Magic Wand. After finishing Hand of Midas, picks up drums.
Yeah. So drums finished, and Watson closing in soon onto the Battle Fury. Broom handle drops for the side of Entity. Another Sunstrike. So let's see. Watson's going to TP out with Yuragi showing up. 4 heroes here. This should be another tower.
Nothing they can do about it. Ravage still available. They are pinging out the top. Dead Prophet, level 7. Still no point in Exorcism. Keeping a point just in case. But also doesn't feel too comfortable just popping it. He only has Kataomi behind him. Let's see if maybe OG decides to defend this one. TP available on Marcy, Invoker, even Tidehunter. Like, everybody has TP available for OG because they've been moving by foot. They did not commit any TP rotations.
Do they commit 3 heroes, 2 showing? Could be tough. Rocket Flare spotting nothing in the trees. Nobody will be around. It's going to be a tower for free.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Not bad for Entity to get something out of it. And they're going to get both Bounty Runes as well as a Dream Coil. Drop down onto the Marcy, who try to survive with that ult. Hook shot used, but Kataomi goes down before Chu. Telekinesis, Sprout blocking Toby in, trying to Spirit Siphon to survive. TP attempt, but the Tornado stops it. BZM, with the rest of his team, should have the control to get the kill, and it's going to be Taiga who gets the final blow.
Even Ice Frog could not help Toby. Trying to TP out there. Triple Spirit Siphon. Commits everything he has just to get out, but not enough. Tornado was still available. And in terms of trade, they only kill Chu, who is position 5 in this game. Maxing out Sidekick, which I really like to see on position 5 Marcy. So you will have this big Nature's Prophet that we talked about.
Yeah, he is really getting up there, and still himself 1,000 gold behind BZM. Going for an Orchid. How do you feel about this one?
Great item. I think this is a kind of forgotten item, I would even say, because mates don't want to buy it anymore. It was like very exclusive on Storm Spirit, Nature's Prophet as a carry even from the off lane. Ursa does not like to play into silence, neither does Puck, so they will need to itemize. Watson probably thinking about maybe a Blink Dagger, but after he sees that Orchid, BKB needs to be the item of choice.
Dire are scanning.
4K lead. This is Battle Fury finished. Decent timing for Watson. And BZM is going to be farming some stacks here, and so will Watson with this Battle Fury. He'll try to stack it one more time at the Ancients, and while that's all going on, let's see what BZM can accomplish. And if they're going to be able to stop these stacks from being made, or really this Ursa kind of getting off to the races. He's not too far behind.
Watson only died once in the laning stage. TP'd out of the lane when he thought the pressure is going to come, like 2 seconds before, so having a pretty good read what's going to happen in the game. He needs another like 2.5 minutes of free farm to be able to finish off that BKB. Taiga.
Spirit Siphon, Sunstrike on it again from BZM. Cogs around, but this Spirit Siphon is making Taiga a force to be reckoned with. They're going to bring Yuragi in. The Spirit Siphon's back and forth. And now they got a cold snap. Toby getting low, and he's going to fall.
I love some good Spirit Siphon on Spirit Siphon action. And Taiga getting all the praise from his teammates. Did a lot. Managed to set up things for Sunstrike. So far is all over the place. Spirit Siphon, there's some really good spells you can steal from Dead Prophets. Either Siphon or Crypt Storm, and then you one-shot the creep wave with it.
The Spirit Siphon feels so much stronger on Rubik. We have seen so many examples of it just being overpowered.
Yeah, definitely feels like it. And I like that BZM is not showing anything. His courier is at the secret shop waiting. Oh!
Shot. Maybe they can finally get the kill, but the telekinesis stopping that. Dream Coil snapped. Illusory Orb, the silence on a BZM not going to be enough. Cogs around on some of these heroes. They've got the sleep. And they get the kill to Ketaomi as Yuragi not going to be able to sprout anybody up to lock down anymore. There's the full Orchid.
Yeah, they did not want to reveal it, so I assume they want to use the smoke, try to get a big pickup. Probably Ursa, he just showed on the top lane. Right now they're underneath the ward, so Ursa will know something is up. Chu?
Wrath of Nature being thrown out, and Chu trying to run from Stormstormer, who doesn't have Dream Coil, so no real way to stop this Marcy from running. And we'll also have Taiga near him, and another addition in BZM making the TP towards bot. Taiga looking for something, as this ward will catch some vision. Shoot, Taiga. Exo, Waning Rift, silence on a 2, and that is a quick kill on a Chu. Taiga with the Illusory Orb trying to jaunt to it, but he's been silenced. That's going to be 2 kills for the side of Entity, and a hook shot thrown at DM, but that will whiff.
They're getting all the kills they can get. That Prophet even using Exo, not going to be able to get any tower damage done with it, but still, a kill is a kill, trying to delay the game as much as they can. They feel like this Ursa could take over. It's just that he needs items. He needs these BKB. Watson has been sitting in the triangle. Yuragi trying to go for a sneaky one, but not fast enough. Wanted to block the camps inside the enemy triangle, so stop Ursa from farming.
DM invading the jungle with the help of BZM and Chu. Yuragi looking for his BKB in the jungle on the other side of the map. So he's going to TP towards bottom to continue to keep this lane pushed out. So right now, Yuragi doing a good job of moving around the map. He's getting a lot of farms, so is BZM. Probably, like you said, they're waiting for the BKB on Ursa. Is that a moment to potentially go for Roche?
They could try to contest it, yes. I feel like OG's got to hit an earlier timing and try to go for it. Get a pickoff, transition that into Roche. Fishman looks very dead here.
Ursa will go north and TP away. Stormstormer not there quick enough to have backup for the rest of his team.
Yuragi, very close to his BKB as well. Just 1,000 gold away. And this is why I said that they want to hit a slightly earlier timing. Even without a BKB on Nature's Prophet, they do have sustain. Rocket Flare did scout them out. No Exo for another 40 seconds, so that means Entity, they cannot contest this. Maybe Hookshot will try to get in, but you see the Treants are already out there.
Oh! No. Sleep a half second too late. Could have been something. So Aegis now into the hands of BZM, continuing to just have pretty much a perfect game.
Ooh, Stormstormer. BZM is approaching.
He's got that Orchid, and Cold Snap Meteor down onto the puck. Stormstormer hit with a deafening blast, and BZM with a solo kill. He's now godlike, 9-0-4.
What a performance from BZM. He's all over the place. And another one.
Strike. Ravage hits 2. Fishman's going to be in trouble right after this if they kill Toby quick enough. Spirit Siphons keep him alive long enough where Fishman's able to walk away.
Where was this OG during the... Yeah, pretty much. This whole tour, what happened?
Hey, they win this game. They're going to be in contention, or win the series, they're going to be in contention for the major. So, you know.
EU's wild. You lose the series, you're relegated. You win, you go to the major. And now they're going to finish off this tier 1 tower on the top lane. BZM will get the last set. Boots of Travel now done, so that means even more global presence. Ursa with the BKB. Entity wants to take a fight, but both teams do have vision on the high ground.
Taiga running, hook shot landing. BZM, is he going to die for the first time? The Drew Coil is going to follow this up. It's just the Aegis for now. DM doesn't have a Ravage, but they've got the BKB as well as the XO right on top of where BZM's going to respawn. They've got the Silence, they'll get the kill. It's going to be a streak going over to Watson. And now they'll look over for Yuragi, who will BKB and TP away. But a Silence onto Chu, onto Taiga. They got to find a target. They'll look for the sleep. That'll send them back towards Toby. And Taiga will get run down, here by this Death Prophet.
What a great fight for Entity. They do have vision on the high ground. They de-warded ward from Taiga, and they immediately get in. And with this BKB on Ursa, Watson like even pre-popped the BKB to be able to lock onto Invoker and just straight up kill him.
Yeah, once that Ravage was used mid before this fight had taken place, gave them an opportunity to fight and play aggressive. Especially with the BKB.
We talked about how this is a great Ursa game, and now it's starting to show. Once he gets to his another 2 items, Blink, Basher, there are no 4 staffs available on side of OG at the moment. I see Berubik building one, and I also see BZM trying to get one for himself. Switches the item build immediately. Wants to be able to protect themselves against Ursa, against Clockwork Hookshot. Taiga is holding on to Philosopher's Stone, so he will most likely get 4 staff and then get a shard. So this is, like, we've seen the power of this shard, being able to save your allies.
So I'm seeing Marcy and Clockwork both building in the Boots of Bearing, or at least they've got the recipe, they still have charges on the drums. What's making this item more appealing? Because this isn't an item we saw too much of either.
Yeah, you want to build it whenever you have Ursa in your team because he is a bear, but on the other team, you know...
Yeah, right.
No, I think the item is like, because it has no charges now, so you can pop it every 30 seconds.
All right, I was laughing because you just said because he's a bear, but then I realized it's the Boots of Bearing, and I'm just so...
DM now in trouble.
Dream Coil, and that's going to be snapped. They've got these heroes on him with the Air Splitter. They get the kill on a DM, and all of a sudden, Entity are chipping away at this OG lead pretty consistently.
Entity chose 2 really good fights. And also, Stormstormer, he now does have a defensive item. Instantly after being solo killed by BZM, gets Yule Scepter. Not an item you want to buy, but in this situation, it's either going to be a BKB, or you need to try to risk it. And here it comes, Yule Scepter.
Yule Sunstrike Meteor. Whoa!
Well, there it goes. It's a setup for Meteor.
For a 480 pure damage Sunstrike and Meteor.
Did not have Phase Shift available. So he's got to drop. 4 staff now finished on BZM. That's going to be his defensive duel against Ursa and Clockwork that we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And Clockwork can be very annoying. You really need that 4 staff. So they'll have multiple 4 staffs once, like you said, Taiga picks up his. So let's see what they can accomplish. It's a 5k lead, but I'll be honest, Entity, minus the Stormstormer death, have felt like they had control the last few minutes.
Yeah, the fights went really well. How many drums do they have? Everybody wants to buy this item. 2 drums on Entity.
Yeah, Chu has one.
So 2 on OG as well.
BZM has one. It's just like marching band out here. So, see if anything can be accomplished with this 3-man smoke.
They don't need more, because other heroes do have global presence, so you can TP onto summons. Yuragi, also 4 staff for himself.
Yep.
they understand the importance of it. We've seen time and time again, previous DPC tour, this one as well, even after the nerfs, extra 50 mana, still an item that wins you team fights.
A very strong item, and there's that Hurricane Pike being finished there for Yuragi. And just about having 450 gold away there for Taiga, getting his 4 staff. Everybody's getting real close, and BZM, of course, has his. So Cogs not looking like it's going to be much of an issue anymore. BZM, despite having the massive start, now behind the Ursa, but still very much ahead of Stormstormer.
Yeah, it's just like both offlaners are not getting too much. BM trying to go for Heaven's Halberd. This is a huge item against Ursa, gives you evasion, gives you that kiting tool against him, especially if you use it pre-BKB and then he pops it.
Yeah, we saw Heaven's Halberd and how strong disarming was earlier in the morning here. It was
2 Heaven's Halberds plus Lucky Shot on Draw Ranger with Divine Rapier. We're talking about the China games that we did cast in the morning. Yes. It says 6k gold lead for OG, but I still feel if EXO is available, that they can take the fight. Coil onto Split Earth, 3 points in natural order, and then Ursa jumps in.
Blink Ravage, Sunstrike, and dead. Stormstormer needs a way to survive. Taiga. He's gonna get in the middle of those sleeps, so he survives, throws down his own spirit. He'll try to fight Katarumi, but they've also got Watson, and he'll clean up Taiga.
Watson did not die for 20 plus minutes. I think he died once in the laning stage, this early death, but so far after that, managed to find the farm. Eventually, like if they win one fight, if he takes the next Roche, he's gonna be taking over on the net worth lead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Problem is they're down a lot at the moment. I know with Exorcism, with the Dream Coil they can fight, but we're seeing how fragile that lineup is too.
It is. If he lands a good Ravage into Meteor, like one Rubik's lift, couple of right clicks from Yuragi, heroes are gonna melt, so they need to be the one getting the jump. They need to delete the hero instantly. Roshan, 2 full minutes.
Yeah, long one. It gives time for the Ursa, I guess, to finish off an Abyssal Blade, which might help going forward for this Roche fight. But more importantly, I feel like it gives opportunity for Stormstormer to get his next item. It feels like his progression's kind of shut off, too.
Not sure if he's going to be able to find anything in the next couple of minutes, like in those 2 minutes, sitting at the 1,000 gold at the moment. They would definitely love to have BKB on Toby for the next fight, because their damage during BKB is very limited, so if they pop those 2 Exos, start running at people, will get kited, of course, with the 4 staffs that they have, because right now they do have 3 of those.
Yeah, the lockdown for Entity is outside of Dream Coil kind of lacking. And they'll have the Abyssal, that'll help a little bit to alleviate that problem.
Never mind, he switches things around, which I kind of like it. Going for Nullifier against those 4 staffs and also removing Sidekick plus Alacrity. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, we'll see how the Nullifier does, and if he commits to it. Obviously, when you're seeing players kind of switching through their cues, they're having a little bit of that conversation with themselves and their team, right? Figuring out what's going to be optimal.
They know that they're smoked. The Ravage is available, but Ogre Seal Totem, quick in and out.
Yeah, he's looking to get that shard, so he's going to be picking up the Tendrils of the Deep.
Ursa can kill Tidehunter during Coil if he commits with a BKB, but then again, if they double force him, if he has buyback available, which I believe he does, never mind, he just bought a shard, so not going to be available for the next fight. Bottom lane is pushing in. BZM did kill that tower because they have Nature's Prophet plus Invoker constantly pushing.
Yeah, so now that Roche is up, they're in on the pit, the Sunstrike. It'll grant them some vision. They need to make the move. Not now, but almost like 5 seconds before. Not now, right now.
Another overpower This Roshan is going down. Seems like OG, they're not going to contest it. They're drawing on a minimap. Push bottom, push top. Ursa picks up Shard and Aegis for the next 5 minutes.
I'm a little surprised that they allowed that to happen. They've got Ravage. They set up near the mid lane for so long, looking like they were going to contest.
Definitely looked like it, but did not want to commit. Instead, killed the tier 3 tower bottom, almost killed the range barracks.
Radiant's middle tower is
Let's see if Ursa decides to swap things around now that he doesn't have a slot, so maybe in the end decides to go for Abyssal Blade. Or if he wants Nullifier, then needs to swap his BKB most likely, because you want to keep the other items.
Right. What's next for BZM? So they group up together, sort of. Now you're fighting into an Aegis, and like you said, if they were to get this Aegis on the Ursa, he should break top of the net worth. And he's getting real close.
Just needs a fight to happen.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They spot vision of DM for a second.
What an
Sealed
item.
totem, and that's going to be just as good of as a Force Staff. There's the Heaven Talbot with the BKB. They go to the Ravage, and it lands on the 2. They'll steal the Crypt Swarm. Watson kind of caught out. Nobody's here as he's been kited for the most part. Tornado lands on the 2. Sunstrike, Tendrils of the Deep. They take out the Aegis. They also got the kill into the Clockwork, so they're going to look to get themselves another as the Dream Coil comes down, as Toby's going to be around the back with the Exo and the Spirit Siphons.
Ursa
Watson trying
can't
to
hit them.
but he's been hit with the Heaven's Halberd. Ursa can't hit. Watson going to go down to Taiga. Toby looking like he's going to be next, and OG having a much better fight than before, and they just obliterate Entity.
This is what we talked about, the kiting potential with these Force Staffs. Ursa tries to get in. Hookshot connects, but Ogre's Seal Totem, then the Heaven's Halberd comes in. Ursa in no man's land that like switches target. I think he tried to go for 4 different heroes in that fight. And looking at how much damage he dealt, 1,000 damage. That's about it.
Look at the damage that Yuragi put out at 5,500.
Is under attack.
Oh my, and we saw how quickly they could push these towers. They're going to look to get a bottom set of racks. They've already done some damage to half.
And now the power of Nature's Prophet. Alacrity, Sidekick, Bongo Drums.
He's looking like pre-patch Lina out there. Telekinesis, Meteor, Tendrils of the Deep. Hookshot comes in. They've got the silence on to 3, 4 heroes. Toby now on the run with the Spirit Siphon. Choose trying to get the Dispose. He'll send him back, and now with the Unleash, is the damage enough? Crypt Swarm, BKB. Toby, though, is he going to be safe even with the BKB? Yuragi backs off of it. Nature's Call. Watson goes in. The right clicks onto this Nature's Prophet, but the Force Staffs, are they going to be too much? There's 1. There's 2. And now it's looking like they've gotten far enough away from the Ursa. They'll get the kill to the Clockwork with the Gush from DM. And it's just showing the power of Force Staff.
This item is too damn good. They get the barracks, they kill 1 hero, there's going to be double damage available. They can go in again. They don't have like any big commitments. Ravage is going to be back online in 20 seconds. So they can keep pushing. They can try to lower the BKB cooldown. Watson, one's still on cooldown for 55 seconds, so if OG's keeping the track on it, they still have another fight. BZM, Boots of Travel is available. Gonna rejoin the fight. DP on Treants.
Middle tower is under attack.
Looking really good for OG to set up to win this first game. Up by so much. This is just big problems for Entity. They're going to start to lose the map very quickly, which means that this net worth lead is just going to
Tower is under
casually go up for OG when you're not allowed to farm anything.
If Entity misuses Exorcism, BKB on Ursa, they lose a fight, they lose a game. Right now, in terms of buybacks, Ursa has one, and that's about it on their side. Clockwork, which is not the most impressive one. 3 minutes and 40 seconds until potential roast spawn. Not sure if they want to wait for it. If they get a pick-off, OG's just going to run at them again.
Yeah, they might wait with the stakes on the line, considering it puts you in potential major tiebreaker rather than relegation.
Yeah, they also have a lot of gold saved up. BZM wants to get that Hex, and here it comes. Gonna pick it up. Yuragi also sitting at 5,000 gold, Hand of Midas.
There's the smoke. So let's see if they make the move. They've got the Ravage back available.
Also big item, another Heaven's Halberd on Chu.
He can't hit.
Needs like 100, 200 gold to finish it off. And also, looking at the neutral items, Blast Rig on Marcy, so great against Ursa, great against that Prophet. Then you have Nature's Prophet with Elven Tunic, so another great item against Ursa. OG, blessed by Dota gods as well.
Yeah, they're constantly being blessed in this first game. And there's the Nullifier. We'll see how it works out for Watson. Now he wants MKB, but I don't know if he's going to even have the time to farm that item up. Well, they're the ones coming forward with a 5-man smoke.
Nullifier on Tide. DM got that Nullifier before Ursa, I believe. So they can lock onto Puck and actually kill him. Silence. No Yule Scepter gonna come through. If you use it on Ursa, you're also taking away a lot of his damage, removing overpower from him. Ursa with no overpower is just a teddy bear.
No overpower, getting disarmed. He's declawed. Can't really get anything done. Exo. Ravage! Huge from DM onto 4 Tendrils of the Deep on a 2. Kantaomi's in trouble to go after Chu, but they've got the telekinesis. DM's gonna get low, but the Ogre Seal told him to get some distance. Dream Coil onto both Yuragi and Chu, but no follow-up damage. Big ults used, but nobody dies.
That Exo really premature. I think he needs to save it until like Ursa gets in. It's not an easy one. Like the game for it, it's like you're playing into 3-4 staff, so if you commit, they're gonna try to kite. If Ursa's not there to use the Nullifier, and he didn't commit with anything too big other than Exo. Ursa still has his BKB available. BKB on Invoker. Same goes for Nature's Prophet. Even without Ravage, I feel OG could try to get a pick off.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, I would say, that they didn't go on a 4-man Ravage like that, as aggressive as maybe they could have. But fighting an Exo is also ill-advised at times, especially if you want to not throw anything away, right?
Yeah.
So they're still pressuring, they're still here, pretty far forward past where the tier 2s once stood. So OG's going to put the pressure on Entity to defend their base, and maybe if they catch somebody a little bit too far out, they'll make a move. They do have this Hex, so they can start with that. That's exactly what they'll do. Hook shot over on a BZM. They've got the Dream Coil. They've got the damage with the Battle Fury, who is also doing some damage over on the Chu. So BZM, Chu, both going down. They've got the sweep, the Nullifier onto the Ursa, trying to run. Tyga's the only one able to go after him, but he's going to lose your orbit. John over to the side. Get Naomi right on top of DM. Cogs push him back towards the hands of Watson, and they're going to get themselves a 3rd kill. So, sort of a defense here for Entity lining up.
Now we see the power of this Nullifier. He locks onto a target, manages to instantly kill it, and as you said, like the Battle Fury damage also coming through, finds a really nice neutral item for himself, Penta Edge Sword. Now on Ursa, also got that level 20, so extra damage from the Fury swipes. In theory, it should not be that great of a Tidehunter game because you're playing into Ursa, you're playing into Death Prophet. Historically, Death Prophet always had your number. Spirit Siphon can't crack that off. Exorcism on top of you. Keep following. That's why Toby wants to get the Blink Dagger, but the thing is, he's really underfarmed at the moment. Sitting at only 11,000 net worth, almost as farmed as Rubik.
Yeah, not the best game right now for the Death Prophet in terms of net worth. You can see Yuragi almost getting level 25. He's about to hit 24, so from that, it can be pretty much Nature's Prophet anywhere, and if push comes to shove, might just end up throwing out a little bit of that rat game.
Love me some good rat Dota.
Rat jam. Or ratting is my jam. So 16,000 net worth lead. Ursa catching right back up. He had been behind for a quick second. BZM's net worth hasn't exactly risen in a little while, so now Ursa, I was saying MKB may not even come out, but they make that defense, and he's almost got the gold for it.
I'm not sure how he fits in MKB into his inventory. Maybe if he finds like another item, a move speed item.
Got to start giving blessings to every item.
Timeless Relic. Let's see what Puck is holding. Robo gonna immediately take that one.
So what did he end up buying? Nothing yet. Lincoln Sphere for Puck next, as this is Roche with Refresher Shard on it. So let's see. OG last time, they didn't even contest. But this time around, with such a lead, they should be the ones who are going for Roche, right?
Let's see, they still have to respect Entity and how they're gonna fight. You are fighting into Elder Titan inside the Roche Pit, Clockwork with the Rocket Flare, Fishman.
Blink, Telekinesis, Fade Bolt. Tomi will survive. He's got those Boots of Bearing. So able to run away pretty quickly, and the rest of Entity nearby, but not exactly responding immediately. They're not looking to counterplay just yet. Need the proper vision to do so, and it's kind of tough at the moment for him. So Tide also holding on to that Ninja Gear, as well as the Ogre Seal Totem. Using that to move around and maybe get the positioning right for another big Ravage.
Watson is committing, using the Courier, going for MKB, sold his boots, but he's very slow. This is 310 move speed Ursa. He gets hit by one Gush, Scotty. He's not going to be able to move in the fights.
We talked about how the kiting with the Force Staffs has been a big issue for him. Well, when you can't move at all, it's going to be even worse, right?
Yeah, that's why I said maybe some kind of a Flicker or maybe Ninja Gear would have been a better item, but they already found all tier 4 items, so he's going to need to bear with it, I guess. That he can't really do anything about it. Gonna get kited, but after seeing Butterfly on Nature's Prophet and also holding on to Elven Tunic, that's 40% plus evasion, so can't really blame him for going for that MKB.
Taking a look at the levels, you do see that Yuragi is now level 25. And he, of course, took the removed teleportation cooldown and commenced the game of the rat. These old Alliance fans rubbing their hands.
Yeah.
Like they just are rats finding something. Let's travel level 2 on Stormer. He was going for Lincoln's, instead upgraded the boots. So we'll see how much that's going to help him. We have seen Stormer get blown up throughout this game. But maybe the Lincolns would be a good idea, or maybe even an Aeon Disc to survive a little bit longer in these exchanges.
Yeah, some kind of a defensive tool.
Problem is, there's already that Nullifier, right, on DM.
Double damage.
So let's see. Smokes from both teams.
Oh, now they have high ground.
Ravage, ooh, Stormcrafter I think stopped his blink, so the Ravage isn't exactly perfect, but they are still going to get the kill there onto Toby. So they take the Death Prophet out, the right click's coming in from Yuragi, they get the kill on a Fishman, now it's Watson who's barely moving, and well, he's going to die very quickly, so does Kataomi, and they don't have buyback on Watson either.
Oh, they just like went to full wraparound, but OG had the high ground, and now they will have Refresher available. Probably going to give that to DM. 6,000 damage dealt by Nature's Prophet in that fight with DD available, completely uncontested. He can also TP inside their base. Holding on to Aegis.
Creeps pushing in bottom.
This just might be it. Maybe they can hold, but I doubt it. 50 seconds, it's more than enough for them to take the mega creeps, but Yuragi's like, okay, we have enough damage and we're gonna go for the throne. Let's see if Ursa has buyback. Glyph, that's their last hope.
Still 40 seconds, and they'll turn their attention to the tier 3 tower. Now back to the forest. Unleash Hookshot coming in. They've got 3 heroes, but there's the Hex as well as the Gush. They've got the Nullifier into the Sunstrike. Won't even matter, as now he's going to buy back. They'll go for the throne, and this is looking like OG should clearly have game number 1, as they have spotted Stormer over on the back end of this fight. Cogs around Yuragi, but it's not really going to matter. BKB's been popped, and they will finish off this first game in easy fashion.
Yeah, Entity did show some signs of life in some of the mid-game fights, but that was about it. Ursa getting kited. They itemized nicely against Ursa. Multiple 4 staffs, 3 in the end, plus 2 Heaven's Halberd. BZM, way too good of a start. Like, he was constantly on top of the net worth until, like, eventually Nature's Prophet took over, but having that early kill, first blood, starts with the Sunstrike on all side lanes, getting the kills. 6-minute Hand of Midas proceeds to dominate the game. I love the Orchid pickup against Ursa and Puck. Kind of shut down what Stormstormer wanted to do. And every single time I see Entity play, Stormstormer is the one who's getting shut down. They do struggle finding the farms, like finding the fights, finding some kind of opening, because 2 supports, Clockwork can do it, but it's not enough, especially with the 4 staff that we mentioned. Watson was always on recovery mode and felt like, he was forced into some of these items that he did not want to buy immediately, needed a nullifier, needed MKB. It always felt like, oh, I need this item to be able to win the fight, but it's not there on time.
Yeah, it felt like most times Stormer, even with like 15, 16,000 net worth, he was getting blown up in a heartbeat. Yeah. His heroes just didn't have the survivability. They didn't have it in game number 1, and OG take the victory. So they have a 1-0 lead, and to break down this game, we've got the panel. Back to you guys.
Game number 1, a fantastic showing for OG here. And Paul Watson on